Hi guys, welcome back to the Home and Homestead. If you're new, I'm Rebecca. Today we're going to be baking together, where we make a moist chocolate cake. This is an over 100-year-old family recipe, and even better yet, it's a no-egg cake recipe. This chocolate cake has a moist, soft crumb and is nice and springy. It can be served frosted, unfrosted, or with a simple dusting of powdered sugar. So let's head to the kitchen and make our family recipe for a moist chocolate cake. So while I have the oven preheating to 350 degrees, we can get our ingredients together and prepare our family recipe for a chocolate cake. So I have an 8x8 square pan here, and I just lined it with parchment paper just so it's easier to remove from the pan later, and I can put it on a serving plate or a cake stand or something like that. You could also use a round cake pan if you prefer. So into this large mixing bowl, we're going to add 1.5 cups of flour. That's an all-purpose flour. We'll add 1 cup of sugar, 3 tablespoons of a baking cocoa powder, next we'll add 1 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now I'll mix these dry ingredients together. I really like making this cake recipe. For one, it's delicious, but I also enjoy it because every time I make it, I think of my grandmother. Next, we'll add 6 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and then 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 cup of cold water. And now we'll mix these wet ingredients into our dry ingredients to create our cake batter. And now we'll pour our cake batter into this prepared pan. Now we'll bake this cake at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. A toothpick will come out nice and clean and have a nice springy crumb to it. So let's get this in the oven to bake. All right, our homemade chocolate cake has finished baking. It took 30 minutes and it has a nice spongy spring to it. I'll just let it cool here, and then I'll be able to turn it out of the pan and put it on a platter, and we can have a taste. Okay, so I have removed the cake from the pan, and when I transferred it over on the parchment paper, I got a crack across it, but that's okay. It'll still taste just wonderful. And I really enjoy making this cake. Every time I make it, I think of my grandmother, and just the smell of it as it's baking, and as it's sitting here, it just reminds me of when I was a child and we would make this chocolate cake and how much everyone always enjoyed it. So let me just cut a piece here. Now you certainly don't have to do the parchment paper. You can serve it just in whatever cake pan you have, and then the edges would be nice and square and flush with the side of that pan. So here's the inside of the cake. It's how nice and soft and springy it is. A nice moist chocolate cake. Well, I hope you enjoyed our time together in the kitchen while we baked our family recipe for a moist chocolate cake. This recipe is over 100 years old and does not require any eggs to make a nice moist and soft chocolate cake that is great plain, frosted, or with a light dusting of powdered sugar on top. If you'd like more inspiration on other sweet treats and baking recipes, I have a number of recipes and videos on the topics. You can check out those playlists for more information. Well, if you're new to the channel or haven't done so yet, I would really appreciate you subscribing. And thanks so much for joining me in the kitchen today. If you enjoy this or any other video that you watch, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. But I hope you're having a great day. See you next time. Take care.